right, we're back. We're going to continue taking off the electrical lines. When we were last here, we removed the starter. I took it and moved it over there in the corner. And I also went ahead and unplugged the electrical from the starter. This is the plug that plugs the electrical into the starter. And it's got this funny sort of connector here. Whoops. It's got this funny connector here where you've got to push that connector down, you need to push this clip in, push the connector in, because as you can see here, there's this, here we go. Let me just bring it up here. As you can see here, there's this squishy part, which makes this plug able to plug in. When it plugs into the starter, it acts like a spring that pushes back on the plug, and this clip holds the plug into the starter. So if you're ever removing the starter, you've got to know to press. You're going to know to press this plug in, press this piece down here under my thumb, press that in, and then pull it out. All right, so we just about got all of the electrical removed. So we'll swing down here. And go ahead and take off this last part of the electrical system. All right, so I took this piece here. We took this piece off by first removing this this size 16 bolt and a size 13 bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 16 back out. Take off this heat shield. Because the heat shield, as you can see, covers this plug and this plug back in here. So let's grab some light. Now what I'd like to do is unplug this from the, this is the, well, the name just slipped my mind. This moderates or it's a sensor that tells the crank when it's either in alignment or in timing or changing timing, and then it signals, this sensor signals the computer in the engine to adjust the timing. If this thing goes out, if this thing stops working, then your engine will exhibit the same symptoms as the timing chain. There's the timing chain skipping. It'll just turn over and over and over, and it won't spark. You won't get any indication that the engine is going to start. So it could be this $15 piece right here that has gone bad. And so the first thing I would do is replace this. If you think the timing chain is busted on this LY7 engine, And then if that's not if you've replaced this and you still got a problem, then I'll show you how you can tell if your entire engine, if the timing chain has jumped and your entire engine is destroyed, like this one. But in order to do that, we'll have to take off we'll have to take these valve covers off so that you can look down into the engine and see if you see metal down in the engine, broken pieces of metal. Okay, so let me see here. Let's get the screw, put it in, then grab it looks like a 10. So we'll grab a 10 and pull this out. And I'm going to go ahead and unplug this one. Wait, before I try just taking this off, I'm going to try and see if I can reach in here and push this. If pushing this guy will disconnect it. No, it won't. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take it out. And I'm going to grab a 10. In my universal joint socket. Check to see if that fits. And it does. All right, as I'm screwing this number 10 screw here. And I'll slide this crank sensor out of here. It looks like it doesn't want to slide out, so I'm just going to grab something and pull it out. Here. Just reach in. Okay, here's our little part here, and you can see how you would normally get this out is you'd press this in and unplug it. Oh. Okay. Well, I'm afraid that I can't demonstrate that for you right now. So we're going to just go ahead and finish what we started with. Get this light out of your eyes and mine. So the electrical harness has now been completely removed. This it wasn't too hard to remove, it was just that there were so many different places to plug this thing in, plug it into the engine. As you can see here, there are so many plugs on this thing. This again is this is the starter, and then I actually don't know what that is. But here we've got 3 of the cylinders. Here's the spark plug These are the signals for the spark plugs to fire. There's 3 of them on one side and then 3 on the other side. For 6 cylinders. All right. 3 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 6 cylinders. The entire electrical harness with tons and tons of plugs to plug your, this is how your entire engine is, how your car communicates with your entire engine. Let me go ahead and plug my microphone in. Okay. All right, so now back to the engine. To the next, to our next piece here. Well, before we do that, I do have a little bit of cleanup to do here. I've got a screw that needs to go in. To go back in here. We're going to transfer all these screws over to the new engine, but we want to know exactly where they go. So I'm going to put them all back. Actually, I'm going to put this heat shield back in place. Now I've dropped a couple of bolts down under the engine, and I'll get to them when we remove some of the other pieces from the engine. As much as I look down here, I just can't see them. But we will find them. They can't have gone far. All right, so put the tool back over. And the next piece that we're going to take off is the compressor. The air conditioning compressor right here. So to remove this air conditioning compressor, it is attached by a bracket. So it's attached by this bracket here. If you can see, I mean, it's pretty dirty, but if you look closely, you can see that there's a bracket that hooks this entire air compressor on by several bolts. You've got one back here under, right there. You've got one over here. You've got one right here. And you got one right here. Now we can take these bolts off. Let me see if that's going to be the easiest way to do it, or if it's better to just take this whole bracket off. I think that it would be better and ultimately easier to remove this entire bracket here and just take the whole piece right off of here. Take the whole piece and remove it and set it off to the side, since the bracket and the compressor needs to come off anyway. So let's loosen this up. These look like either 16s, I think. These are 16s. Let's go over here and check it out. All right, let me go over and grab some more tools. See if a 16 will do it. And a ratchet. We'll put our 10 back. And that's just a smidge too big, so we're going to try 15. Yep, just the right size. $15 here, 15 here, and 15 here. And since these boogers look like they are going to be a monster to take off, I'm going to use some power tools on this. Always love using power tools. All right, let's just grab the big one and the little one. Let's put this on. And look at that. That comes right out of there with the power tool. Two, and a third one, number 3, and since it's not falling off right now, we're probably going to need to use the pry bar to break this thing loose. But first I'm going to take a look and eyeball it, see if, okay, there is another bolt holding that in. Let's see if we can find what is holding that on. And if it is this bracket, okay. Nope, I don't see anything, so I'm going to use this pry bar first. See if that does the trick. All right, pry bar, where are you? right there, right next to me. All right. Okay. Doing the trick here. Let's see here. Okay, this booger is being held in the back by that spot right there. Let me get you some light so you can see the last bolt that's back in there. There is a bolt way back there. Right there where my finger, way back there where my finger is pointing. Okay. So, to get that out, I'm going to grab a universal 15 because it looks like there's a little bit of a curve. I'm going to slide this engine around a little bit. So you can see the compressor here and where I need to get to the bolt back there. Well, I guess that's not going back in there. I'm going to need a smaller wrench. A smaller socket that will fit back in there. There we go. So you can see that bolt, the whole thing has come out now, so I'm going to pull this out. And all right. So I'm leaving this compression cable with the compressor. But you can see here there were 3 main bolts to take the compressor out as one piece. Those 3 main bolts that you just saw before, and then there's one around the back, around the side here. which goes that one goes right there. So for consistency, we're going to put this bolt back in. And then set this compressor down. And put those 3 bolts back in. These 4 bolts are for the compressor. So take the compressor back over and set it with the other main components here, which we will put on this engine when we're ready. How are we doing on time? All right. So now we've gotten the compressor out. Let's see. We got the compressor out, we got the starter out. Now we're going to take the power steering pump off. And that is this booger right here. So let me roll the engine around a bit. First, get this keep from breaking this light bulb. Oops, some more stuff here. All right. Let's see how we'll get that out of here. Oh. All right, for our power steering pump, that seems to be hooked in with, that is hooked in with this bolt here. Why? Okay. That is hooked in with this bolt here, and this bolt back here, and well, I think it's just 2 bolts holding that thing in there. There's a 15, and here's a 15 here. All right. What do you know? Got to pull out the big boy, big guns. Now I've got no monitor over here. Although the camera is still on. Let's see here. Point this down a little. See how we might take this one out with a power tool. I got a feeling there's a bolt under here that's going to want to give us some trouble, but I'm going to try. We're going to try with the smaller impact wrench. See if that will. It will not. All right, so let's grab that Universal 15. And with that, well, with that and this, we have power steering pump out. I'll put these bolts back in. There, okay, we got those bolts back in. Now we've got the power steering pump that hooks to the power steering hose that runs all the way from the power steering, pump down and over and into the power steering pinion, which is going to stay on the car. So, as you see, this hose is one piece here. We want to remove the power steering pump, or we want to remove the power steering pump from the hose. So I'm going to go ahead and get what looks like a 15 here, an open-ended wrench. And take that off. Okay. As you can see, it's not a 15, it's a 16. So let's go over to our drawer. 13, 14, 12, 17, 18, 17, well, 13, 14. What do we have here? 13, 12. Well, wouldn't you know it, GM has created a bolt for which there isn't a standard size. So we have a 19, a 17, and a 14, and a 13. And we have here an 18, a 17, a 19, 19, 18, 17, 17, 16. 16, which you guys probably already saw on the camera, and I was looking right over it. And the 16 fits perfectly. All right. Right. Left. Left to loosen. Right to tighten. Well, all right. So when the easy stuff fails, you use a hammer. Well, before I use a hammer, cause everybody watching this to go nuts, I'm going to use my pry bar to give me some leverage. Well, looks like that's not going to do the trick. Well, you all saw it. I tried. I tried without the hammer. The hammer's calling my name. I should have left that connected before doing this, but try putting this on the floor. You could possibly get a little more leverage. There we go. Well, that is not what we intended to do, as it looks like more than just the more than just this bolt is coming off of here. Looks like there's quite a bit more coming off of this thing. All right, let me put that back in there a bit. Get something to catch all this fluid. Go ahead and loosen that up. All right, move this over here. And move this guy up. Set it here. And take our power steering pump and put it with our other components. So now that we've got that power steering pump out of there, we're going to go ahead and take a break. Come back to this in a little bit. All right, and we're back. We're going to go ahead, now that we've gotten all of the components that you can see way over there, we've gotten we've taken off we removed the electrical, removed the air conditioning compressor, we removed the starter, removed the power steering pump. Now we're going to take off the intake manifold, which comes off in two parts. After we take the upper intake manifold off, let me get you some better view here. I'm standing right in front of it. Once we get the upper intake manifold off, we will then take off the lower intake manifold, which is under here, and then remove, then put the whole intake manifold over there, then remove the camshaft covers, which old school referred to these as valve covers. So then we'll remove these, and that will get us where we plan to get in this next segment. Let's get started. All right, moving this out of the way here. Power steering stuff. Oh, gosh. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with starting with this and using our handy dandy power tool. Okay. So we remove 2 bolts on either side, over on the far side and on the driver's and the passenger side. Then we take 4 bolts out of the upper intake manifold here. So we will use our 15 on that. 13, that is. We'll use a 13 millimeter for these main bolts, which are pretty long. Now I'm taking these out in a cross pattern, but the service manual does not demand that we do that. Let's see here. And it lifts right off and out. So our upper intake manifold is removed nice and easy. I'll take this over and place it in our bin. We'll do a little cleaning on that a little later. Then we will take a look at what we have here. We're going to, I think we're going to replace these gaskets. But the instructions say, then remove this electrical. Here, let's see. We can remove this without unplugging this electrical, because it says in the manual that there are only 2 bolts. This one here and one over on the other side right here, which looks like they both look like probably 15s. Let's see. And they are. Okay. That bolt out. And this bolt out. Let's see if we can lift that off. And we have taken off the lower intake manifold. When it goes this easily, I always want to say thank you, GM. So now let's take a look at what we got here. If we can see, boy, got some dead bees in there. Okay, so now we'll take a look at see if I can get that. I'm getting a good view here. All right, now we will take off these camshaft covers. Well, first let me see if I can get this If I can get this PVC valve connector off. Well, that sure was nice and easy. Put it over here. All right. All right, these are 13s. It looks like we're going to go ahead and check those out, see if they are 13s, and they are. So we will take these covers off. Again, they don't say to take them off in any sort of a pattern. In the manual, it doesn't say take them off in any sort of pattern, but I'm just going to go ahead and take them off in a cross pattern. I'm going to slow this down a bit, maybe to a 2. Okay, I believe these are all out. At least loosened up. These are all loosened up. Oh, one left. We got another one here. Go ahead and take these all the way out. All right, loosening these up just as quickly as we can. All right, let's see if we can pull this off. Well, it's all out. That's out, that's out, that's out, that's out. All of them are out. All right, well, we need to pry them off. We need to pry it off. Use the handy dandy pry bar here. Pry it here. There it comes. That was still just a little bit stubborn. And there we are. All right, this piece of rubber here is our seal, which I'm going to go ahead and pull off, but we're going to replace this seal when it comes time to put these on to the other engine. Now this in here looks pretty clean. I mean, it's not too bad, but if you look right here, that shouldn't just be laying inside the engine. So when this timing chain jumped, these these cams got out of timing, got out of alignment, got out of timing, and it tore the inside of this thing up, because here's another piece here. It's all busted up and broken off. And that is why the engine no longer works. And that is what has happened to your engine if you've got this same one and you've got the same problem. All right. Bring this over to put down here and get it ready for washing. Let's move our All right, let's go ahead and take these out. Well, really like this. Really like this universal joint based impact driver, because you don't have to worry about bending your bolts when you're spinning them out of there. Although I do think that the manual says to replace these bolts with new ones. And since for this car, we're going to be replacing a whole lot of things they may or may not be worn out, but we're going to go ahead and replace them just so that they're new. All right. Let's see here. Take our pry bar. Let's give it a little bit better view here as we take this guy off. This, again, looking in here, this is really not that dirty. I mean, when it cleans up, it'll clean up to where it's, it's kind of a silvery color. And you can see in the other engine, which I'll show you just a second, that the cams and the rocker arms and everything is, nice and clean. But this really isn't that bad. This engine, with 160,000 miles on it, was in pretty good shape. And that is because this LY7 engine actually is a very good design. Except for a couple of things, and one of the things that we would see in this LY7 engine is, you look at this side, and the cams are dark and dirty. They're not too bad, but they're dark. They're kind of dark and dirty. This guy is all, wow, look at that. There's another piece of the rocker arm, and just tore it right up. But then you come over on this side and look at the rocker arms, and they are cleaner than on the other side. Just a little, but I mean, if you look closely, these are brown, while those over there are black. So let's take this over and set it aside for cleaning. Get our tools. And so we've now removed the valve covers and the intake manifold. Went a little bit quicker than we expected, so we're going to go ahead and end this segment now a little bit early, and when we come back, we will continue with the rest of the parts removal.